Right now in the studio, I have Dr. Innocent Odey, Director, InnoBec Business School, joining me on the show. Doc, good day to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
All right. So let's get straight to our discussion point. And talking about the informal sector, if you heard from my introduction, it's about contribution to the Nigerian economy. But for you, what has been your assessment of the informal sector of Nigerian economy?
You said in your introduction, the informal sector is one of the major contributory to the Nigerian economy. By the Bureau of Statistics, 2022 gave that the informal sector contributed, I just have said, 58% to the GDP. And to my research, over 93% of employment in Nigeria are created by the informal sector. This informal sector are people that are not registered by government. They don't have any social security in their employment, but they are contributing a lot. They are contributing a lot to the Nigerian economy. So, the way to go, a lot of people, unemployed people should be encouraged to go into the informal sector by creating employment for themselves.
Interesting. But talking about the informal sector, some of our viewers want to know, who are these informal sector people? Who are the actors? Who are the people that comprises the informal sector from your own understanding?
The informal sector are unregistered employees, unregistered employees, entrepreneurs that create jobs for themselves. These are people that are not are regulated by government. For instance, we have the carpenters, we have hairdressers, we have barbers, we have butchers who that butcher meat, we have groundnut sellers, we have even they call the akara sellers. So all these are informal sectors because their businesses are not regulated by government and they don't have any social security in their employment. Now, for instance, last week a carpenter came to my house and to construct a bed for me. He was talking about 100 and something thousand. So this informal sector, they are creating a lot of employment for the youth. They are creating a lot of, they are also contributing to the GDP. So the informal sector are the unregistered, unregulated businesses. Those are the people that are in the informal sectors.
Interesting. But for the informal sector, they have their own fears. They have their own issue. But for you, what is their major challenge of the informal sector?
The challenges of the informal sector, number one, access to capital. They want to grow their business. They want to expand. They want to expand their businesses. Now, they don't have access to credit facilities. The banks, like the microfinance is one of those banks that's supposed to target small businesses. And you know, most of these small informal businesses are not registered. Now, getting loan, getting credit facility to expand their business is one of the challenges. They don't have infrastructure. They don't have shops whereby they can put, for instance, you go to Nanya, is headlight town in Abuja here, you see on Wednesdays, most of these informal sectors, they display their goods on the road, pepper sellers, yam sellers, all those people, they don't have infrastructure, they don't have place to put their goods. So all these are challenges facing the informal sector.
Well, talking about getting them a very friendly environment to operate.
Yes.
What would you suggest to the government? Because we have seen in the past, I'm coming with Dr. Odey, I'm seeing in the past, whereby government provide facilities for them, but some of these facilities are beyond their reach. But what would you suggest when it comes to providing friendly environment for this informal sector actors?
Now, something happened in Maraba, a satellite town close to Abuja here. When you go, there are a lot of traffic by the road because you see a lot of people, those traders selling by the roadside. Now, the former governor of Nasarawa State, Tanko Almakura, constructed a market called Orange Market. And those markets, if you go there, you see a lot of shops empty. People are refusing to go to those places. Now, the government can create incentive. Those incentives, number one, like those shops, they can subsidize it. They can outrightly give those shops for them to buy the shops in the long run. To pay, get a guarantor that will give them, that will make them pay for the shop in the long run. All this can help solve the issue of getting infrastructure for their businesses. Then the issue of, I told you about the issue of loan facility, getting credit facility. More people want to expand. Most of these people want to expand. Now, getting the land is a challenge. So how do you get land? You don't want to be your business to be mobile. Look at the hawkers now. Those who hawking goods around. The government is after them. Like the Abuja Environmental Protection Board is after them. So they want to settle, they want to get a place. So they need credit facility to get a place. So the government can also, like what the former vice president was doing, the trader money that was going around the marketplaces giving trader money. Some collected 10,000, some collected and so on and so forth. Those money went a long way in helping those traders, those informal sector you are talking about. Exactly. So the government can also, in its policy, bring about those trader money, bring about the trader money. It will go a long way in supporting those small informal businesses to have a place to stand.
Exactly. But research has also shown that an informal sector, in a way, it cannot be rolled out in the entire structure of Nigerian economy. But for you, how did you place their significance in the Nigerian economy? The
significance or the importance of small business cannot be overemphasized. They play a great role in creating employment. By the Bureau of Statistics, 93% of Nigerians are in the informal sector. They create employment for themselves. Now, for instance, I said one time I came here, the government cannot provide employment for all Nigerians. So people need to create employment for themselves. So number one, they create employment for themselves. Number two, they contribute to the GDP of the economy. Number three, there's job satisfaction. There's job satisfaction because when you are doing your own business, you have a time to rest. So the importance of the informal sector cannot be overemphasized. Cannot be overemphasized.
Talking about their importance, it's also related to the contribution to their contribution to tax. But for the government, because they have not been able to get the real data around them, it becomes so difficult for government to even collect tax from them. But for you, what would you suggest to government in getting their data? Because they are very key to the economy and they're very key to revenue generation for government. So what would be your suggestion in the area of getting their data? As rightly pointed out, under AYA Bridge, very close to us, at the studio here, we have them operating. In Yanya, not far from us, the satellite, we have them. In Bega, central part of Abuja, we have them. All across the country, they are informal sector operating as either as an hawker or as a roadside seller and the rest of it. But how can government really harness their data?
Government can harness their data. Let's look at the POS operators. The POS operators. Recently, I learned that the government mandated all POS operators should register with the CAC to have a CAC registration. That's a good way. Because from there you can get the data. You can get taxes from those PS operators. So the government can create an incentive for people to register. Create a revenue for all informal sector to register. To have a registration. Those that have a registration will have an incentive, will have a grant. If you bring a grant that want to give grants to informal sectors, want to give grants to small businesses, that will encourage a lot of small businesses to register. From there, you can get the data of those small businesses. If the government promise to give incentive grants to small businesses and create a database for them to register, by that registration, we can get a lot of data from the small businesses. Then we can generate taxes from them. Because now getting taxes from most of the informal sector have been very difficult for the government. Let's assume somebody selling okrika by the wayside, and you see sometimes most of those touts, local government authority come to collect revenue from them. They will pack their goods from one place or another. It will be difficult for the government to generate revenue from them. But if the government creates a database, register all of them, give them a certificate of registration from our Corporate Affairs of a Commission. Now they have a registration. The government can have, if not 70%, we can get database of our the informal sectors.
Interesting. But for most of those informal sectors that we had the opportunity of interacting with, they are not afraid of paying tax. But for you talk about incentive.
Yes.
Apart from providing a place for them to operate, what kind of incentive do you think that these informal sector actors can really appreciate? Because there's one thing for government to provide market for them. There's one thing for government to provide loans for them. But there's another aspect of it that many of us may, but for someone like you who is a practitioner who understand that set of business, what would you think should come in as other incentive, apart from loan and apart from providing a place of a market for them?
As I've said, there are many incentives the government can give. For instance, the infrastructure is a challenge. Most of these people, this informal sector, they carry their businesses from one place to another, The government can create a place. Let's, for instance, most of them trading by the roadside, they're under the bridge, as I've said. The environmental protection bodies against all those people selling by the roadside and all those things. So there should be a market, a place for these informal sectors to operate, there should be designated places. Let there be designated places for those people to operate. Like for instance, the mechanics now. The mechanic cannot operate all over the place. The carpenters cannot operate. There should be designated areas for these people to operate, so that the buyers can visit, can go to those people, those places. We know we have markets. We have the markets where we have a lot of informal sectors in the market, the pepper sellers, the groundnut sellers, the meat sellers. Now there are other people that are not in the markets. We need to have a place of designation for them. Land is very expensive. So if the government creates a place for this informal sector to operate, that will go a long way in solving most of the challenges of this informal sector.
Exactly. Now, talking about the incentive, at a point in time, there was this suggestion by economists who said we should take a view of the model in China and the model in India. What are those models? The model is that government doesn't allow in the informal sector to operate in a vacuum. Rather, government incorporate them in a way for support and other aspects. For instance, the Chinese model of supporting the informal sector is always targeted towards cottage industry and industrialization in a way. Similarly, also, it was also suggested that the Indian model focus on growing the informal sector in a way that majority of them will be incorporated by government officials, and it will be easy for government to tax them. So the question now is that how can we ensure that we have a compatible model for our informal sector, particularly for the small businesses who have been regarded as nano business, micro business, and small businesses. For instance, the nano business people are regarded as the woman frying akara, the shoemaker, the organizer on our street, or the carpenter. Meanwhile, the macro businesses are also regarded as people who own some shops beside the houses or in the market. Then the bigger ones, the micro, the mini businesses, are those ones that are already operating but having a bit of registration with federal government or state government. But right now, the issue remains that what kind of model can we really give to strengthen the informal sector in Nigeria? So, Doc, for you, the informal sector, what kind of model can we take, either from Chinese or from India, to strengthen them in your own view?
Let's take the Chinese model. Because you see, China is growing. It's an emerging economy. You know, there are some things we can copy from other nations. We can copy good things. We bring it and because what the problem in Nigeria is that we copy and paste. Sometimes we copy wrongly and we paste wrongly. We can copy the Chinese model because the Chinese model is working. It's working. Because a lot of our electronics are from China. A lot of our what we use is from China. We import. We are an import nation. We import. So the other day I was discussing with one of my mechanics. I said, what happened that Innocent Motor is not penetrating the Nigerian market? What happened? He told me that the part of Innocent Motor is difficult to get. I said, why can't we replicate? Why can't we replicate other countries that are supplying us Toyota? What are they doing? Now he said that those suppliers supply with their parts. That when they supply those cars, they supply their parts. So it is very easy when your car gets spoiled, you get the part and repair it. So, but now our own local manufacturers, they just supply cars without parts. So when you are going and your car have a challenge, to get the parts is a challenge. So we can copy the China model of the informal sector. When we copy, China is doing well. We can copy it, then modernize it for our informal sector. I
really love the word you use. We can modernize it for our informal sector. Now, our constitution has been on the federal government for some minutes now, but let's also look at the subnational government, talking about the state government. For you, Doc, what role can the state government play for our informal sector to really drive our economy? I'm talking about the governors, the local government chairman.
We're a subnational government. The state government have a lot of role to play. Now, recently, since the subsidy was removed, a lot of money is going to the states. So the state governments need to put on their thinking caps. They need to put on their thinking cap by seeing how avenue to support these small businesses, the informal sectors, thereby uplifting the economy of their states. The state government also have a lot of role to play. Number one, what the federal government is doing, the state government need to replicate it to their various states. If the federal government is the driver, and the state government will follow what the federal government are doing. So the federal government should set the pace. When the federal government set the pace, it trickled down to the state government and to the local government. Now, for instance, we have what we call the problem of rural-urban migration. House in Abuja is very expensive, but when you go to the states, people know the houses are there very cheap. A friend of mine recently relocated to Akwa Ibom State, and he said, the house rent there is cheaper than Abuja. So if the state government, support this informal sector, they will develop the state. People will not be coming to Abuja. In short, the issue of this Japa syndrome we are talking about will reduce. Because people, what are you going to travel abroad when you have it in your state? The state now will be booming. The economy of the state will be booming. People don't need to travel abroad again. They will be in their states. And the state now will develop. And then we'll talk about accelerated development. It comes from the states. All our states are developed. If our states are developed, many people will not come to Abuja. They will be in their states. So the government, the federal government need to set the pace. Number one, the state need to follow. We will adopt a model and say this is the model we want to do. We have the Ministry of Planning. So this is the model we want to do about our informal sector. The state government also take part, and this will lead to the local government. That will lead to accelerated development.
Interesting. On the part of the private sector, a lot of innovative ideas. I've had guests who come into the studio talk about incubation, innovation, startup, and the rest of it. This also flow into what the informal sector is doing, and they are also looking at opportunity to bring the informal sector up. But for you, Doc, the private sector, what role are we going to give to them? Even though the informal sector is partly a partial, exactly. Yes. But for the private sector, the likes of, I won't mention it, but for the private sector, what do you think
we have what we call the big brothers.
Exactly.
we have the big brothers. You always have a big brother in the family. Exactly. In the family, you have a brother, an elder brother that is doing well. You need to support others. That is how we have we have multinationals. These multinationals also, we have what we call business social responsibility. This business social responsibility is also part of the things that these multinationals can do to support the other informal sectors. For example, a business operating in a particular environment, let's assume a cement company operating in a particular environment, they can play a social role. That social role can also contribute to what we talk about the informal sector. Supporting the businesses that are around that particular area where a multinational company is located. That will also help in promoting the informal sector in that particular locality or state.
Interesting. But specifically, if you are to suggest to or recommend for the private sector, apart with the social responsibility you are talking about is a bit broad. But for informal sector business owners, the mama frying akara, the organizer out there, the carpenter, what will you suggest from the private sector they can do? I know you may want to talk about giving them credit and the rest of it, but what else?
Now, for instance, we can patronize those informal sectors. The multinational can patronize them. Let's assume now a woman that is running a restaurant. For instance, the other day I went to a restaurant and I said, "Where are your staff?" She said that they have other outlet, they supply to other people. They supply. So we can patronize them. Those multinational can patronize those small businesses, those unregistered businesses. You can patronize them. When you patronize them, it will boost their capacity to produce more. So the multinational should patronize all those people, our local fabrics, the local shoes they make, and all these small things. When they patronize them, that will also encourage them to produce more.
Interesting. As we begin to round up on this side of the discussion right now, for the informal sector actors,
yes,
we have highlighted their challenges. We have also highlighted their issues. But what will you say to them particularly?
I will encourage the informal sector to keep on, to press on, because the government cannot provide employment for everybody. So therefore, put on your thinking cap, think more, because be an employer and not an employee. What they are doing, in the long run, they will create job for others. Somebody told me that Dangote started very small, and he started, look at where he is today. So you can be great as a small small entrepreneur. So keep on what you are doing. Even support will come one day. Continue what you are doing. So that small informal sector you are running can become a multinational tomorrow. So keep on. That's my encouragement for the informal sector.
And interesting, your encouragement to them. But most of them also exercise this fear about government taxes, government charges and fees. What will you have to say about that?
Well, government, some people look at government as there. Government, we are the government. Government of the people, by the people. That's democracy. So we are all part of the government. Now, the business you are doing, if you contribute one quarter, 1% of that your business, that will also boost the government revenue to help in providing those amenities you are talking about. So my advice to the informal sector is that let them keep on. Let them press forward and let them continue.
Interesting. Let them hold on to this and let them continue. But on the other hand, there are issues in terms of loans, credit facilities for this informal sector. There are array of examples of where informal sector have given money by federal government of Nigeria, state government also give them money. But at the end of the day, the story, the excuse that they didn't put the money into the business is what we are hearing. But for you, what will you have to say about that? And what do you think government should do when you give people money and you discover that they are not putting into the business they are expected to put in? you are smiling.
Why I'm laughing is that I talk about the trader money.
Exactly.
The trader money also, some people use it to invest in the business. Some also use it, like I learned that when the former vice president Osibanjo was giving trader money, some people collected the money and went to buy food for their family. So there should be a proper way of accountability. No, you don't just throw money to people. Before you give money, let them register. If there's an association, let those associations be registered. Let us have the names. Let us have guarantors of people who are giving money. So that if tomorrow they did not pay the money, we can go to their guarantor, because a lot of people collected trader money and went and bought rice in their house. So there should be accountability. When we are giving money, don't just throw money to people. There should be accountability. People that are coming to take the money, you should have guarantors, so that by the time we know, we can have an assessment team to monitor, to see if their business is what we gave them, the grant we gave them, the loan we gave them, is having impact in their businesses.
Interesting.